Yo, what goes on, everybody? Walker Dead here, back again with another episode. This is season 2, episode 4 of my Walking Dead reboot series titled Farmhouse. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. I really do appreciate it. And I do want to, before I start the episode, I do want to clear the air and say my bad for not posting regularly. I've been unfortunately really busy with other things, real life things, and also working on other videos. I already did my Fear reboot, season 1, episode 1. I just want to get that out of the way first before I did this. But anyway, yeah, without further ado, let's get into this episode now, shall we? The episode begins with Rick holding Carl in his arms. He is running and running and running. He is sweating. There's blood on his uniform, and he is just nervous, and he is scared, and he feels like his son is slipping away. He is nervous. But meanwhile, as he's running, we see this dream sequence through Carl's eyes where he's in the woods running by himself, and he is just not really running away from anybody. He's just happy, like he feels like he's free and able to do what he wants to do. He throws a walk, distracting Walker as he goes into the tree, so that the other walkers won't get him. And he is just laughing in happiness. Next shot is Rick stopping, and he is yelling at a man named Otis, and he is screaming, "How far? How far?" Otis and Shane stop. Otis says, that way to that farmhouse. Hershel, talk to Hershel, he'll help your boy. Rick picks himself up and starts running straight forward. As the next scene is panning out, you see a woman named Maggie looking through her binoculars. He sees Rick holding Carl in his arms, and Rick looks like he's about to pass out, but he refuses to give up, knowing that his son's life is on the line. Maggie turns around to the house and screams, "Dad!" She goes inside the house and lets everyone know what she saw. The next shot is Rick running to the front porch as Hershel, Lacey Greene, Arnold Greene, Susie Greene, and Rachel Greene, and Jimmy all come out of the house. And Hershel immediately asks Rick, "Was he bit?" Rick says, "No, just shot." He is panicking, and he looks like he's about to cry, and as he screams, "Help! Please help me! Help my boy!" And Hershel says, "Get inside! Get inside! Maggie, I need my full kit. Extra bandages, bathing supplies, drapes, needles, threads, blankets, anything, and I mean anything." Maggie says, "I got it." Beth comes downstairs, and she's like, "What's going on?" Maggie says, "I'll explain later." Beth quickly realizes like, "Oh shit, a kid just got shot." So she decides to help out. Hershel moves the pillows and the bed sheets as Carl's laying down on the bed. Rick is holding Carl's wound, and he is just trying to hold it together. Hershel grabs I don't know how to explain that stupid tool. Listen for a heartbeat. He grabs that tool, and he says, "I got a heartbeat. It's fate." This has Rick even more concerned, knowing that Carl's heart is starting to fade little by little. Patricia comes out of the bathroom as she asks what happened, and Hershel immediately says, "It doesn't matter now. I need assistance, like now." Patricia then says, "Step back." Hershel asks Rick, "Your name?" Rick says, Rick, I'm Rick. Hershel says, "Rick? Rick, I'm Rick. Rick, we're gonna do everything we can, okay? But you need to give us some room. Now." Shane and Otis finally get to the house. They come in as Rick exits the room. Shane immediately asks Rick, "Are you okay?" Rick says, "I don't know." Shane can see the panic look on his face as there is just this concerned look on his face as there's sweat and blood all over his uniform and face, and he looks like he's about to cry. Arnold is just like, "What the fuck happened?" And Otis tells Arnold that it was an accident. I went out hunting for a deer, and I didn't see the kid. I didn't notice he was there. Rick says, "I need some air." He goes outside, and he is just crying. He is just crying because he's concerned, and he's really concerned for his son, and he fears that he's gonna die. As he gets up from the stairs, and Shane walks outside, and he grabs a rag from his back pocket of his pants, and he just cleans up the blood off Rick's face. And Shane asks again, "Are you alright?" But this time saying, "Are you alright?" Rick says, "I'm fine. I just need to calm down for a little bit." Back in the woods, Lori is looking around the woods, and John's like, "Are you okay?" And Lori's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just I heard a gunshot." Daryl says, Could it been Rick or Shane?" And Lori says, "No. Rick or Shane would have never, wasted a bullet just to take out one walker. They would have done it quick, like use a knife." Daryl says, "Okay." Carol is just looking around the woods, hoping she sees Sophia. Unfortunately, what is there are trees and walkers just walking away. Andrea says, "Are you okay, Carol?" Carol says, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just every day even now, I'm just concerned that my daughter's out there, and knowing that she's out there just worrying. It just worries me, I just keep praying and hoping to God she doesn't end up like Amy or Ed." Carol then looks at Andrea and says, "Oh my God, that's the most terrible thing I've ever said. I'm so sorry." Andrea says, "It's okay. We're all hoping and praying for you." Daryl then comes in and says, "I'll tell you what it's worth. Not a damn thing. It's a waste of time, all this hoping and praying. He's gonna locate that little girl, and everything's gonna be just fine." Jeez. Am I the only one consent around here? As he jokes, and everyone starts laughing. Guillermo and Tara start laughing. John laughs as well. They start walking back to the highway as Lori says, "We'll look for her more tomorrow," as she notices that the sun is starting to set. The next shot is back at Hershel farm. Rick and Shane are inside, and Rick is questioning why I let him come with us. A little girl goes missing. you look for. It's plain and simple. Carl got a shout because I refused to cut bait. Should be me in there. Shane says, "You've been there, partner. You have. And how, even if you didn't need your blood to survive, there's no way in hell I would ever, and I mean ever, let you walk out that door not knowing what could happen to you. Especially if you gave 4 pints of blood or not knowing the what if, or not knowing how or when, or what could happen. I can't let you go out that door. You wanna know why? Because you're my brother, Rick. And Carl right now needs you. He needs you. You need to be there for him as a father, a leader. Most importantly, as a survivor." Rick says thank you. Shane says, "You're welcome." And Rick says, "You're right, Shane." Shane says, "About what?" "About knowing what the what if, what could happen, and the thought of, I never know what could happen." Shane says, "Since when am I ever wrong?" Hershel then comes out of the room and says, "Rick, you got a second?" Rick says, "Yeah." Rick then immediately asks the question, "How is he?" Hershel says, "Well, not great. One of the blood vessels is damaged, which means there's internal bleeding. And from the firing of that bullet, it broke into 6 pieces. I was able to get the shrapnel out, but from my count, I count 6. I took 1 out, but that means there's 4 of them still in there. Which means I gotta take them all out. Go in the body, find the bleeder, and stitch it. Wow. Same bad results. But to do this, I gotta put him under. And he can't move while I'm in there, and I mean at all. Because if he does, I'm gonna have to suffer an RV in there. But then he'll be dead within seconds, which means it can't work." Rick says, "What do you need?" Otis then says, "You need a respirator." Herb said, "Yes, that. I'll need extra drapes, sutures, extra medical surgical supplies." Rick then says, "Well, if you had all that, could you save him?" Hershel then says, "Well, if I had all that, I can try." Otis then said the nearest hospital went up in flames a month ago, and then that's what dawned on him: the high school. Hershel then says, "That's what I was thinking." Rick, "You okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. Just, Warren needs to know, Shane, that her son is lying here shot." Beth then comes and says, "Tell me where your wife is." Maggie and Jimmy volunteer to go with Beth. Rick says, "Thank you so much," and Beth says, "Don't mention it." Otis then says, "Well, then I'm going to the high school to get the extra surgical supplies." Shane volunteers and says, I'll go with you." But Patricia's like, "Otis, no." And then Otis just says, No, honey, I'm responsible. I'm not just gonna sit here with my gun in my pants knowing that kid is in the bed shot because of me. No, not gonna happen. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make things right. And I'm gonna bring back those surgical supplies. Rick said, thank you. And Otis then says, just wait until that boy is up and running, and then we'll talk. Otis, Patricia then says, I don't like this. Otis then says, it's the only chance we got. We can either talk about it now until next Sunday, or if we can do this real quick. Shane says, I'll take real quick. Shane then says, it's settlement. Now, we just need a vehicle and some weapons, and we'll be good to go. Rick grabs his Python revolver and gives it to Otis, and Otis then says, don't worry, Rick, I'll give you back your gun, and make sure to bring it back in good shape. Otis and Shane go outside to the car as they're getting ready to leave. Patricia hugs Otis and says, you better come back alive. Otis says, don't worry, I will. They both get in the car. Otis starts the engine of the vehicle, and they both drive away, leaving to the high school. Back in the woods, John is talking to Avesta, and he is asking her, what were you asking her? Like, what were you and Shane talking about? Avesta tells John, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. John says, are you sure? Avesta says, yeah, I'm sure. Avesta then looks at Tara and asks John, do you think Tara's going to be okay? John says, I hope so. She just lost her own mother and half her own people, of her original people. I just hope she's okay. And I just hope that she's able to, move forward with what happened. John then says, I know what it's like to lose a mom. So, yeah, I could relate to that. Even though my mom was, a bitch. John and Avesta start cracking up and laughing. Andrea sees two walkers and kills both of them in a badass fashion as she's walking back to the group. A walker comes out of nowhere behind a tree and almost bites Andrea, but it doesn't bite her. She's trying to grab her weapon again after putting it away because she's trying to stab the walker in the head, but she accidentally falls on the ground. Avesta screams, Andrea! Avesta tries throwing Andrea, trying to kill the walker, but unfortunately, her and John are surrounded by 5 other walkers surrounding them both. John grabs his knife because he knows if he uses his shotgun, it will only attract more walkers. So he grabs his knife. Avesta grabs her knife as well, and kills 2 of the walkers. John kills the 3rd walker in a badass fashion, as the 4th walker is trying to grab John on the arm. He then grabs the walker by the neck, gets free of his other arm, and stabs that walker in the head. As he also falls falls to the ground. The walker is trying to bite him, but he's like in a tough situation, like he can't get up. And while he's trying to grab his knife, and he's struggling to grab his knife, he screams, "Not today, you ugly motherfucker! Not today!" Face. Beth comes out of nowhere with her baseball bat and saves John. She kills the walker with her baseball bat, and the badass faction. John is a little in shock, but then he looks at Beth and he's like, and he's just giving that look like wow. Just wow. Beth says, "You had a close call there." John says, "Yeah, I did. I would have died if it wasn't for you." Maggie then grabs her knife and stabs the last walker in the head, saving Andrea. John staring at looking at Beth like wow. John then's like, "Sorry, John Miller." Beth smiles and says, Beth Greene, it's nice to meet you." Beth then tells John and everyone in the group, which one of you is Lori Grimes. Lori says, comes and says, "I'm Lori." "Why?" And then Beth breaks the news to Lori that there's been an accident, that Carl's been shot. John's like, "What? Shot?" "Yeah, that he got shot with a revolver, but it was an accident." John is freaking out and concerned for Carl. Daryl's like, how do you know their names? Beth says, "That doesn't matter. Your son is lying on the bed, shot, and he needs you. Rick needs you. All right, just come on my horse. Come on." Lori then takes off her backpack and grabs up Beth's hand, and they both go back to the farm. Maggie then says, "You guys had a group up in the highway near the traffic circle?" Glenn says, "Yeah." Maggie says, go straight down the road, make a right, and keep going straight, and then you'll see the mailbox. The name is Greene. Maggie screams, "Hey!" as Maggie and Jimmy I'll leave the area from Beth, trying to help escort Lori to the farm. John is like, well, that was good and bad at the same time. Another walker comes out of the woods, and Daryl sees the walker and shoots in the head, and jokes saying, "Shut up," as he fires his crossbow, killing the walker. Back in the highway, they tell Dale and T-Dog that Carl got shot, and Dale's reaction, he makes that funny face in the background, but Dale's like, "Shot? What do you mean shot?" Glenn says, "I don't know, some chick came out of nowhere, like saw a horse and took Lori with 2 other people." Dale's like, "You let her?" And then Daryl's like, "Yeah, I'm an asshole, man." Rick Center. Tara then says, "I can't believe he got shot." Felipe then says, if I was with Rick and the crew, and if I had some medical supplies with me, hell, maybe I could have done something, But instead, I don't know, I just keep feeling helpless. Like, why? Like, Guillermo says, "Don't worry, mi hermano. It's okay. It wasn't your fault. You didn't know what was gonna happen. But hopefully we'll get to that farm. Maybe you can work your magic, give an open hand. Phoebe says, yeah, sure. It's just I'm fine. It's just I can't imagine what Rick is going through right now. Rick and Lori are going through right now. Their son is lying on a bed, shot. Like, that's terrible. I just hope that boy's okay. Tara says, me too. Guillermo says, same here. Dale says, I heard screams in the woods. Was that you? Glenn then tells Dale that there was a walker in the woods. It was a close call. Her and John. Dale asks, Andrew, are you alright? Andrew then says, yeah, I'm fine. It's just I tried to kill that walker, but luckily if it wasn't for that girl and her sister and her friend, I'd probably be dead right now. But Andrew then says, thanks Dale for asking, and Dale says, you're welcome. And then Dale's like, John, are you okay? And John's like, yeah, I'm fine. I just had a close call, and I'm just glad I'm alive, I'm just glad I'm okay. If it wasn't for that blonde lady, I would have died, pretty much. But anyway, I just hope Carl's okay. Back at the farm, Rick is outside, and he is looking around. He's looking at the view, and he is just acknowledging the fact that how nice and beautiful this area is and how this farm is. Hershel then comes out and says here's hoping that Shane and Otis come back soon. Rick says yeah. Rick then says this land is beautiful. Can't believe how serene it is, how untouched. You're lucky. Hershel then says, well, it wasn't all just pitch black and rainbows and all perfect. We lost friends, neighbors, family. But this virus, this disease, it took my wife, my son Sean, and my friends. Rick says, I'm sorry. But Hershel then says, my daughters and my sons were spared, along with my ex-wife, Patricia. I'm grateful to God for that. Here's hoping we could still stay here and ride it out as soon as there's a cure. Well, as there is, when there is a cure, Hershel says. Rick says, we were at the CDC. It's gone now, but there is no cure. Hershel said, I don't believe that. How? When there was the Black Death in the age of darkness, we were able to pull together with medicine and hope. And some parents took their kids out of school so they wouldn't sit in the same room, so they wouldn't get infected by whatever sickness that was out there, in a way. Rick then says, but this is different. Hershel says, it is completely different. But I believe that those infected can be restored. Rick then says, I just wish I wish I could believe that. Lori, Beth, Maggie, and Jimmy pull up. Lori gets off Beth's horse, and starts running to Rick. Rick runs to Lori as Lori's crying, and she is screaming, "I gotta get to my son! I gotta get to my boy!" They go inside the house, and Lori sees Carl on the bed, shot, and Lori is just crying, and she's just really upset. She goes to Carl and she holds his hand, and is like, "Carl, it's okay. I'm here. We're here. Baby boy. Everything's gonna be okay. It has to be." Lori grabs Rick's hand as she's crying in sadness. The next shot is Lori grabbing Rick's hand, and he is taking him to the kitchen as he's trying not to fall because he already gave 2 pints of blood to Carl. Like he donated 2 pints of blood to Carl as he's trying not to fall. They get to the kitchen. Hershel opens his heart and gives Rick some of his orange juice. Rick says thank you, and as he's drinking the orange juice, Lori asks Hershel. So I understand is when Shane comes back with this other man, what's his name? Hershel says Otis, the idiot who shot my son. Hershel then says, "Ma'am, it was an accident. I'll take that under consideration later, but for now he's the idiot that shot her son." Rick says, "Lori, he's doing everything he can to make it right, to make things right." Lori says, "Yeah, I get that. But when they get back, can you perform this surgery?" Hershel says, "Yes, I definitely do my best." Lori then asks, "What kind of doctor are you? Are you like a vet, like a combat veteran, like a combat medic?" And Hershel says, "No, I'm a veterinarian." Lori's like, "What?" "So, you performed this surgery before on what? Cows? Pigs?" Rick looks like he's about to faint, but Lori then grabs him by his hand and his arm, and puts him on the chair, preventing him from falling on the kitchen floor. Lori then says, "You're completely over your head, aren't you?" And then Hershel then says, "Ma'am, aren't we all?" The next shot is Otis and Shane pulling up to the high school. They both get out. They grab their bags with extra ammo inside. They grab their weapons, and they start heading up the mountain. But as they get up the mountain, they notice that the school is surrounded by walkers. Shane's like, "That's what we gotta get into?" Otis says, "Yes, unfortunately." Shane then says, "Well then, if I get bit trying to save Carl, just you keep running, okay? You keep running, and you don't turn back from me." Otis then says, "No, that's not gonna happen. We're gonna get those supplies together, and we're gonna go back to that farm alive." Shane says, "Okay. Then, let's do this." The next shot is back to the highway. The scene is with T-Dog, Dale, Daryl, John, Glenn, Andrea, Carol, and Tara, as Felipe and Guillermo, and Alan and the others are talking, whatever, like like a plan to like what to do if Sophia comes back. But Carol then says, no, I'm not gonna do it. Dale then says, Carol, the group is split. Carol then says, well, what if she comes back? We're not here. It could happen. Andrea then says, she's right. If Sophia did find her way back in the highway and if we're gone, that would be awful. Daryl says, all right, we got a plan for this. We'll set up a big sign and leave her some supplies, telling her to wait here. Avesta then comes and says, I'll help make the sign, but I'm staying. John says, if you're staying, I'll stay too. Fuck it. Andrea says, I'm in. I'm staying. Dale then says, if the RV staying, I'm staying too. Dale says, count me in. Glenn then says, well, if you all are staying. Dale then interrupts him and says, no, Glenn, you're going. Take Carol's Cherokee. Glenn says, me? Why is it always me? Dale then says, we need to find our people, reconnect with them, find this farm, and figure out what's going on. But most importantly, you gotta get T-Dog there. This is not an option. Because we need to make sure that he gets there in one piece. And he needs medicine and proper cleaning. If not, T-Dog will die, no joke. Felipe comes out in the RV and says, I'll go with Glenn. And he then asks John if you want to come, and John's like, I don't know, I want to help find Sophia. It's just that little girl was out there all alone, and we don't know what's going on. Carol says it's okay, you can go if you want. After all, Carl needs you. You're like an uncle to him. And besides, it would be unfair if he wakes up and if you're not there with him. John says, you make a good point, and changes his mind and decides to go with Felipe and Glenn. And before John goes, he says, are you sure you guys don't need me here? And Andrea and Avesta are looking at John like, don't worry, we got this. Dale says, don't worry, we'll all be fine. John says, okay. And as the next shot's panning out, he's getting in the car with Felipe and Glenn. And T-Dog, driving T-Dog to the farmhouse. Of where the Greene family is at. The next shot is Daryl going through his motorcycle, and he grabs like a bag of medicine pills, and inside there's like this blue furry methish type of substance or whatever it is. It's in the bag, and Daryl says, this is my brother's stash. And then he says, you guys will probably be like, why are you waiting until now to do something or say anything? Well, in case of an emergency or a crazy situation like this, I gotta, be prepared. Yeah. Daryl's like, wait, did they leave already? And Dale says they're leaving now. Um, and Daryl knocks on the window and tells Glenn, like, here, give these pills to T-Dog because it will stop the pain and it will calm him down a little bit. Glenn says thank you, and they leave the parking lot as they're driving away. The next shot is Shane and Otis behind a cop car, and they are sneaking to the gates of the high school, the front gates of the high school, as they're noticing a big herd, like not like a big herd of walkers, like a small herd of walkers, like, you know, like a total of 20 or 25 walkers, walking up to them. Shane grabs his flare and flares it up to the sky towards the street of the school, alerting the walkers, like, hey, go here. Otis grabs his bolt cutters and cuts the lock of the front gates. They sneak in and they open the front door, but that door is filled with walkers, and Shane is like, holy shit. And boom, that is the end of the episode. I know, a crazy way to end off the episode, but I felt like comfortable, like, you know, ending the episode off, like, you know, on a cliffhanger like that. Like, holy shit, there's a bunch of walkers, and now Otis and Shane are gonna have to find a different way to get into school, but also try to avoid getting fucking bit at the same time. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This episode was written by me. I actually wrote this episode myself, and I also wrote in there like you know, like the introduction of the Greene family, and Beth, me and John. I wrote that in the episode myself. And yeah, and I will admit I did go deep. I will admit I did go deep in the comics. In case you were wondering, Rachel Greene, Arnold Greene, Lacey Greene, they're not TV series characters, they're comic book characters, they're characters from Walking the Comics. So I said fuck you, why not have them in there as well? Because if I'm gonna have Beth, Maggie, and Hershel, and Billy, fucking might as well just have those characters in as well. Plus the two little girls, Rachel and Sashi. I felt like it was needed to have them in this episode because it's the introduction of the Greene family. So I said, fuck you, why not? But I mean, yeah, that's the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Season 2, Episode 5 of my Walking Dead Reboot series will be out next week. So yes, please stay tuned for that. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please like this video / episode with all your Walking Dead friends and family. Don't forget to share and like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace